Hey everybody, my name is Alessandro Colorossi and I'm a partner data transformation lead here at Google. Effectively, that means that I help channel partners and other holdcos navigate the terrain for reporting and insights and pretty much any feature within GA4 and some of our other Google Marketing Platform products. I help them do this for clients and also themselves. Now, the point of this presentation is to kind of let you know how to approach GA4, but also I want to show you some techniques that I use when I dive into the platform, whether that be if I'm learning something new or whether I'm showing a client something or kind of even what my approach is to a proper implementation. I always start with questions. So what does the client want to answer? Well, GA is the tool to answer questions about your data. GA4 offers key reporting experiences, standard and customized reports. These are used to answer key questions and to export and share reports across an organization. Explore. This is sort of like a free-form scratch pad to gain deeper insights about users and their journey. Now, my presentation is about these first two, standard and customized reports, and the Explore section. The other two are kind of a continuation of this section, but we'll leave those for later. But I want to show you that a lot of questions can be answered just by using the UI, the standard and customized reports in platform, and utilizing the scratchpad or the free form reports also gets you quite a long way. Yeah, so like I mentioned, we're going to be sticking to these two in this section. So here's the question this particular client who owns a used car dealership wants an answer to. They need to know in GA4 which specific vehicle landing page someone is on. They want to know when they're on the specific vehicle landing page, the details of that vehicle, but also how long they spend on the page and what actions they take while they're on the page. For example, this particular Acura, they want to know, let's say, these features here, the exterior color, interior, the odometer, the drivetrain, the VIN, you get the idea. They want to know all of the aspects about the car, how long they spent on the page, and what buttons they clicked when they actually were on a specific vehicle detail page. Okay, they want to get to this. This answers that question. So here we go. We see make, body style, exterior color, model, and VIN. Okay, we're segmenting by device category. So was the user on a mobile device? Were they on a desktop or a tablet? And what did they do when they were on the page? Okay, did they click on the check availability button? Did they click on the check availability button coming from an ad or coming from a specific ad group? So this is all very useful to them. Also, as I mentioned here, how long they spend on this page. This gauges whether this particular car is of interest to people. So not only is them clicking buttons something they want to know about, but whether or not they spend a long time looking at a particular vehicle. And so you can see here elapsed time from last page request. So I'm also adding this to this report. Okay, so to use GA4 to answer this question in the UI, there are three prerequisites. Natively, we can't just go into the UI and get this stuff done. We need to do things as far as ensuring that data is set up and a few other things. Let's go into it in detail. Okay, so the first prerequisite is setting up data on the site. So do we have data on the site, or does data need to be sent to a data layer or a data lake? Well, you can see here that they actually do have quite a robust data layer. We can go to it here. So let's go to it. Auto. Let's grab one of these vehicles here. Do a quick search. Okay, so this is a vehicle detail page. And like I showed, there is detail in the DOM, document object model, just in case you guys don't know what that stands for. So that means it's in like the graphic design of the page. If we go to inspect and then go to the console, type in data layer, expand on it a little bit, okay, we can see here in the 0 area, so the 0 position in the array, there's a vehicle section, and then that expands even more, and then we can see all sorts of detail about the vehicle. So body style, asking price, doors, driveline, engine, all sorts of useful detail. Model, so make, Acura, you see. Model year, okay, so all useful stuff. So do we have data on the site? Yes, we do. So I checked the data layer, and the site is ready to be utilized in GTM and in GA4. Right, so prerequisite number 2, send data to GA4. So is GA4 set up properly from a tag perspective, whether that be in GTM or whatever tagging platform? gtag.js is fine too. But in this case, nothing is set up. So we want to grab the things that are in the data layer and push it to, retrieve it from Google Tag Manager and then push it to GA4. Okay. So you can see here, let's set up GTM with tags, variables, and triggers. So I won't go through this step by step, but I'll show you kind of what I did. So let's look at tags. Okay. For these guys, I set up measurement ID tag. So this G dash number is, of course, found in their Google Analytics. And then what I did was I set up this ecom data. I just called it ecom data. You can call it whatever you like. But I'm utilizing the ecom view underscore item default parameter, and then I'm kind of customizing it to make it my own. So, for enhanced e-commerce, you should use the default enhanced e-commerce parameters, but I'm using a vehicle landing page as an item in this case. So view underscore item actually makes sense to me, but the event parameters are going to be very specific in this case. So I'm passing all the vehicle details here, body style, doors. Driveline, gotta fix that. Yeah, so I'm passing all the parameters here. And then the value is a data layer variable that retrieves the value for these parameters from the data layer. So a trick to doing that is I go back to the site here. And for example, I will just go for doors, I will right click, and then I'll say copy property path. Is that correct? Yes, okay, great. So then I'll go back here, and then I will create a variable. I've actually made the name of the variable the same as the variable itself. So for example, which one did I do? Oh yeah, doors. So I'll go into doors, and then you can see here I've created a data layer variable. And when you create a data layer variable, you can't use the brackets. So you can see when I've retrieved it, it's got these brackets, but when it gets echoed here in your variables, the first 0 is a given, so you don't need that. But instead of the brackets, you replace those with dot. So it'll be like this, dot 0 dot doors. And you can see I've made it the name, and I've made it the thing that gets retrieved. Vehicles.0.doors. So what we're doing here is when we go to the data layer, because it's positioned 0 in the array, we can just say dot vehicles, and then in the vehicles object, you've got here 0, and then which one in 0 is it? Well, it's doors, so dot doors. And so that's what we're doing for this one, and the rest follow the exact same logic. So if we go back to tags, you can see that's what I'm doing here for all of these. And I'm triggering it on the event that is actually present here. So they actually do have an event. It's this one here, vehicle detail view. Excuse me, vehicle detail view. Item underscore page view. Yeah, that's a different event as well. Yeah, so whichever event is firing when this data is present is okay to use. So my trigger for that is just the name of the event that is firing when this data is available. Okay, yep. So I talked about the triggers. There it is. I think we would also have to cover the button click events as well. So I want to know what they're doing when they're on the page. So you can check availability button click, right? Event name, check availability button click, and then we have a specific event name for that button click. Calculate your payment button click. I'm just using a click text calculate your payment button click for that. And I'm passing these as GA4 events. You can see here. Okay, and then you want to test to see whether the implementation works. Okay, so you can use GTM preview mode to do that. And you can utilize the real-time report in GA4 also to check that. Great. Next step would be to create custom dimensions in GA4. So to do that, you go over here to admin, and then go over here to custom dimensions. And then you would add them each here as the scope being event. So ensuring custom events are added to reports, in my view, it's essential for capturing specific user interactions that default tracking may miss. By creating custom dimensions in GA4, you can better categorize and analyze these events, providing, of course, more relevant insights. Okay, so I've done all that here. Create custom dimension, and then I just kind of select it here and then give the dimension a name. This is so I can report on these various dimensions. Okay, once all of this data is available in GA4, well, then I can create a free-form report. So I can go into GA4 and I can go to Explore, and I can show you what the report looks like here. Cars viewed and actions taken, for example. You can see here, I'm adding a bunch of different dimensions, and those dimensions are the various aspects of the car, and those dimensions are rows. So I can't add too many, but I've added 5 of them here that I think are the most important information to track for the car. And I'm segmenting by button click, actually. So the check availability button click coming from paid media, and then one check availability button click coming from a specific competitor ad group. Okay, the metrics are here, and then these metrics I'm using as values. So the metrics I'm using are active users and elapsed time from the last page request. So this shows me all the users, and also out of all those users, how much time did they spend on each one of these vehicle pages. Okay, so this actually is quite useful and answers their question specifically. So what is the make? What is the body style, exterior color, model, and VIN? And then how many active users visited these particular cars? How much time did they spend on the page? And we're segmenting that by these users that clicked these buttons, these users that clicked this button coming from specific ad groups, and also what device they were on as well. Okay, so there it is. You can also utilize the acquisition report to answer the question, which traffic sources are driving the most check availability button clicks on the Max Autos Plus website over the last 28 days. To do this, you go to Reports, Acquisition, and then Traffic Acquisition. Okay, so basically what we're doing here is we're filtering this particular report for those who clicked on check availability button click. You can see here this event here. We're filtering that for those who clicked on the check availability button and where did they come from. So here we go. So that was a quick exercise on how we utilize standard and customized reports. And you can see before how we made that really large report using the Explore section. That was kind of our scratch pad. And that's how we really need to ensure that the proper data was in place to use that freeform report and really to answer their question using a report.